Hey, today I have a little tactical. It's not really a playthrough, but sort of ish, because I've set up the table. Um, Last Thursday, I had a training match against Torben. I was training for the Danish nationals. Torben is not going for health reasons, but I was going to the Danish nationals, and he agreed to come and train against me. So we did. We played one of the missions, and there was a couple of. It was an objective mission, but there was one part of it which it didn't really blow my mind because I knew that this was possible, but it was so well played by Torben. It was so clearly set up and executed that I thought I wanted to show you guys how it was. Now, a lot of this has been said before, right? It's not like he invented something completely out of the blue, but he did it so, he executed it so perfectly. And I think there's a lot to be said here for how you can use different elements of your army tactically. So let me just show you what was happening. And first off, I'll show you the force that he was using to do this little bit of tactical brilliance, right? This is the force that he was using, or my equivalent of it, right? He had 3 AA guns. He had 2 horse-drawn limbers, and he had 2 officers. One officer was from his rifle platoon, the other was from his artillery platoon. So each of these AA guns is in total like 35 points, and then 21 points for the officers, and I can't remember, 10 points for the horses. Not a lot of points, right? Less than 150 points here. And he executed this brilliantly, right? So the board was more or less like this. He had a couple of objectives, which were, I'll mark these with yellow dice because they're easy to see. So he had an objective over here, and he had an objective over here, and there were more objectives on the table. But so when he starts his setup, wow, I'm just throwing stuff around here. He started his setup by actually looking at these objectives and thinking, okay, I want to get to those, right? So the first thing he did was, when he started moving in, was that he drove one of his horse-drawn limbers as far as it could go. It was slow because it was dragging the AA gun. And then next dice he gets, the AA gun unlimbers. Because it can unlimber 6 inches away, he unlimbered it right behind this little dune, which gave him hard cover, but he could see over the dune, he could shoot over the dune. And at the same time, he was within 3 inches of the objective. So suddenly he had that objective, right? He also took one of his AA guns and marched it, because he didn't have all the horse-drawn limbers that he needed. And the second horse-drawn limber did the same as the first, moved up, unlimbered the gun right behind the hill here. So in hard cover, and then he moved his one officer behind the forest so he could sit there, and the other officer moved over here because there was a linear obstacle, hard cover. So he actually did a run all the way up here. Right. I think actually these were a little bit closer together. I think perhaps this one gun was over here. So not straight up, but a little bit diagonal, and still within 3. Right. So that was the setup. That was his deployment. We were using first wave for this. Now, once we get to the first turn, everything he has here goes on ambush. Every single unit here goes on ambush. The horse-drawn limbers retreat behind the forest, but not so much to be completely away. They just wanted to at least have some angles where they couldn't be shot at. because they were still getting hard cover from these dunes that were in front of them. So he didn't really care about whether or not they died. He just wanted them to be a little bit back so that like everything in my army couldn't shoot at it. The first dice he gets for this autocannon is an advance order, so they move up another 6 so that they get to this point. Now at this point, all of his autocannons are simply very close together, and they are actually within 6 of each other. I don't think he needed to be this close, but it's kind of brilliant because right at this point he could recrew the guns, right? If this gun lost crew, then you could recruit from this gun, and so they could all share crew, which was brilliant. And he had an officer standing close by in case they got pinned, or in case he needed to rush to the other AA guns. He had 2 officers could go, and the officer here is even within, or he was at one point, within 6 of both of these guns, so he could snap to both of these guns, right? So you could snap 2 of the guns, and one of them had an officer babysitting it as well. Now, at this point, my thought process was, I need to start like blowing some holes in this gun line, right? So I start zeroing in. I have 2 light mortars that start zeroing in on these 2. I will mark those with some blue dice. Now the first AA gun I don't hit, so that's a 5. The second AA gun I'm actually lucky enough to get a hit, and I kill 1 dude, so Torben removes 1 guy. Now this AA gun is in trouble, right? I'm zeroed in. It's only got 2 guys left. It does make the morale test due to the officer that's within 6 of it. But, I mean, next turn, it's in deep trouble. But at that point, Torben does something absolutely brilliant. He remounts the gun into the horse-drawn limber. He just remounts the gun. And the zeroing in goes away. Next turn, I continue shooting at this central gun here. And Torben unlimbers his gun again back into position over here. Like that. And that is the brilliant thing here. These interconnected guns can now support each other. They can give each other crew. They can be snapped to by the officers that are close by. If he had a company commander, this would have been even better. The company commander could have snapped to everything here. But he didn't have a company commander. He did have enough commanders so that every one of them had the benefit of the command bonus for morale. Every turn they were going on ambush. And they were shooting down the lanes of fire into the central board. And he was at the same time taking the objectives. If something got too close for comfort, he would simply move back into the horse-drawn limbers and then out again next turn. And that is the tactical brilliance here. It is how to use the limbers, it's how to use the remount, getting out of that firing zone without actually exposing yourself by going, across, or you're not exposing yourself. You're going back towards where you limbered from. So that's brilliant. The only thing that was a little bit troubling was that as soon as he had relimbered this gun, I actually drove a tank up to try and see if I could shoot the horse limber. I missed, which meant that this AA gun over here and that one got to shoot at me and killed my tank. So it ended up being really good for Torben and not for me. But I did see an opportunity to maybe kill both his horse his horse limber and his AA gun, but that missed. So that is what I wanted to say to you guys. That, I think, has some tactical viability for how to use your gun line, how to use your AA guns. Interconnect them, have the limbers ready to go all the time if you need to move out from that zeroing in, because counter battery fire is the main thing that kills artillery in version 3, right? That was it from me today. Hope you enjoyed that. I will see you in the next video. Cheers.